Welcome back to another Sunday prep day. If you're new here, every Sunday at Prep for the Week. So that means cutting all my vegetables and making some other things to prepare for the week. So today I'm going to make a tomato soup, and I'm also going to make some pickled cucumbers. So I'm just going to start by slicing up these two spring onions for some Korean tacos. You can save these stems, by the way, if you want to, and plant them or put them in just a little thing of water, and they'll grow back, but I just don't use them enough for me to worry about that. So, but yeah, that's for Korean tacos, and I'm going to cut up some onion, and let's go over the menu. So, today is Sunday. For lunch, I'm going to have some sandwiches. I have some bagels and some bacon, and I'll do some lettuce. And I'm going to make those pickled cucumbers, and I'm just going to fill a jar with cucumber. And if I have any cucumber left that doesn't fit in the jar, I'll put that on my sandwich as well, just to use that up. So, and if you're new here, usually for lunch I eat low carb, keto friendly, except on the weekend. That's when I usually have my sandwiches. Those are my cheat days. So, hence the bagels. And for dinner tonight, I'm going to make some sauerkraut. I'm going to saute sauerkraut with peppers, onions, chilies, garlic, some bacon lardons. And I'm going to serve that with some roasted ham, and I'm going to do some potato wedges in the air fryer. So that's one of the reasons I need this red onion diced to go in my sauerkraut. Also, sauerkraut is a German word, and it literally means sour cabbage, and that is also the direct translation into Dutch. It's zuurkool, which also means sour cabbage. So, just a fun fact. But yeah, that was Sunday. Then for Monday, Meatless Monday, for lunch, I'm going to have some tomato soup. So I'm going to prepare that today, so that tomorrow I just have to warm that through. And I'll either eat it just like that, or maybe I'll have some lower carb crackers to go with it. So, and then for dinner, if you've seen my What I Eat in a Day videos, or if you checked out my Instagram before, you'll know that on Meatless Monday I like having these vegan tacos with lentils and things like carrots. And I kind of want to try and make them into quesadillas, so they won't be vegan, they'll be vegetarian, but we'll just see. My New Year's resolution for this year was to try and do less processed things, especially for Meatless Mondays, because I used to get the meat replacements and stuff, and those are so bad. So I've been doing a lot more things with like lentils, beans, and the like. So more curries, more of those vegan tacos, all that stuff. So I'm just slicing up onions for my soup, among other things, and my sauerkraut, a couple of other things. So yeah, let's continue with the menu. So that was Monday. Then on Tuesday, we'll have some of my roasted ham left over. So I'm going to have that for lunch with probably some sugar snaps. But the nice thing about prepping ingredients and not meals, I can change things around, because I have sugar snaps planned this week, broccoli, and some green beans. So I can have my sugar snaps on Tuesday, but I can also save them for a later day and use broccoli or green beans instead. But yeah, just with some roasted ham. And then for dinner, I'm going to do some Korean tacos. I do Taco Tuesdays, and I thought, just to change things up a bit, go not a Mexican way, but a Korean way. So I'll make them with ground beef, soy sauce, honey, some kimchi, and I'll top them with cilantro and sesame seeds, sriracha, mayo, that kind of stuff. Then we're on Wednesday. For lunch, I'm gonna make some stuffed peppers. So I'm just gonna take 2 halves of a pepper, and I will stuff that with some vegetables and some ground beef. So that should be quite tasty. And then for dinner, I'm gonna make some burgers, just some ground beef, some lettuce. I'll use some of the pickled cucumbers that I'll be making in a moment. And yeah, that should be really nice. I like a good burger. So for my pickled cucumbers, I need some slices. I'm just going to use one of these slicers just so it's even. You can do it by hand, but I like the even slices. So I'll just do 2 or 3. We'll see how much it takes to fill up that jar. Okay, that's about 2.5. I think I make a little more space. Almost 3 of those Persian cucumbers, and the rest I'll just use for my bacon bagels later. So you can use a regular cucumber, by the way. I just prefer these Persian ones, but whichever you use, that's fine. Let's do some peppers. So this one I'm just gonna cut in half and clean it out. And this one I'll just stuff with beef and veggies, and I'll just roast them in my Ninja Foodi. So that can go in this container. And here I have one of these pointy peppers, and I'll just clean them out too, and I'll dice this up for things like my sauerkraut. I'll probably put some in my quesadillas. So while I dice that up, let's continue with the menu. So for Thursday, for lunch, I'm gonna do some chicken with some broccoli. I have some chicken drumsticks that I'll put in the air fryer. But like I said, I can change out the veg still. We'll see what I feel most in the mood of for that day. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some bibimbap. So that's a Korean rice bowl. I'm gonna marinate my chicken in some gochujang and some honey, some rice vinegar, all that good stuff. And then I'll serve that with some spicy green beans or sugar snaps or broccoli and some kimchi, maybe some pickled cucumbers because I'll have some left. I'll do a fried egg. So, and then for Friday, Fish Friday, for lunch, I'm gonna do some grilled fish with some broccoli, or again, green beans, sugar snaps, whatever. And then for dinner, I'm gonna do some more potato wedges with some fish. I have some fish in the freezer that's topped with like veggies and breadcrumbs and things like that. I don't know how you translate that directly in English. But I'll have that with potato wedges and broccoli or something. Just a nice easy meal from the air fryer basically. So let's cut up some chilies. Again, for my sauerkraut, for my quesadillas, some of this red chili I'll put in my tomato soup as well, because I like that a little bit spicy. So I'm not going to bother taking the seeds out. It's not too spicy, these cayenne. If spice does bother you, you can absolutely take the seeds out. I just don't bother. That is chilies done. Then I have a bunch of tomatoes. These cherry tomatoes, they're nice and flavorful. So just to cook them down easier, I am going to cut them in half. So I'll do that with the whole lot. But yeah, just halve or quarter these depending on the size, and that will just help them break down a lot quicker when you cook them. You don't have to cut them, but I just find that it goes a lot easier. And then from last week, I just have this tomato left over, so I'll just throw that in as well. Just a rough chop since everything is going to cook down anyway. So that's all tomatoes done. Then I have some potatoes for my potato wedges, so I'm just going to leave the skin on and just cut them into wedge shapes. So that's 2 potatoes, that should be plenty. Let's make a little bit of space. Then next up, I have some carrots, and I'm just going to use my julienne slicer, because again, I could do it by hand, but this is a lot quicker and more consistent. You can use a grater as well, because this I'm going to use for my my vegetarian quesadillas. So you can grate it or julienne it nice and fine, and together with lentils, that forms like the bulk of the filling. And I'll also save a little bit of this to go in my stuffed peppers. So that's 3 carrots done, that should be plenty. And then I have a little bit of this big carrot left over from last week. So I'll just use that for my soup. So I'm just going to cut that in half, then in half again to make quarters. And I'm just going to make nice thin slices. Seeing that I'm not going to blitz my soup or anything like that, blend it, I'm just going to leave it with chunks in it. I want it fairly fine. Then next up for my soup, I have some celery, and again I want it somewhat fine, so I'm going to cut it lengthwise and then cut across. And I'll just put that in the same container as the carrot because I'm going to use that at the same time. Then next up, some cilantro, that's going to go on my Korean tacos. So I'm just going to give that a nice fine chop. And I'll just keep running my knife through until it's nice and fine. Then next up, I have some broccoli. I need about 2 meals worth, so that's about 1 head of broccoli. So I'm just going to cut off these florets and cut them into bite-sized pieces. And save the stem, because that's excellent for things like broccoli rice or low-carb wraps made out of broccoli and things like that. And then last for chopping, I have a bunch of green beans for 2 meals, so I'm just going to top and tail them and have them ready to go. Alright, that's all my vegetables cut, that's ready to go. And then one last thing to cut before I start making my soup and my pickled cucumbers, etc. is just to grate a little bit of cheese for my quesadillas. Okay, that all took 23 minutes, so I am going to now preheat my Ninja Foodi on saute. And I'm just going to put a few things away and then I'll make the soup. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of multitasking here. So here I have some rice vinegar. You can use any vinegar. I just prefer rice vinegar. Add a little bit of water, roughly half and half. A little bit of salt. And some sugar. You don't have to make it too sweet, just a little bit. And that is just on the heat. We'll let that all dissolve. In the meantime, my Ninja Foodi is preheated, so I'm going to add a little bit of oil. I'll add in my carrot and my celery and about half of this onion and some garlic. Add a bit of salt and we'll just let this soften. Now that has softened, I'm going to add my tomatoes and I'll let those cook down just a little bit. And then I'm just gonna add in this half a bunch of celery. It's mostly stems, but there's still a lot of flavor in there. I'm just gonna use this to flavor the soup, and I'll just fish them out afterwards. That's why I'm leaving them whole. Add some water. And then I will change this from saute to pressure cook. So put the pressure lid on. You could just let this simmer, but since I have a pressure cooker, that just makes life a lot easier. Make sure the valve is closed, pressure cook. We'll just do 30 minutes. It's probably overkill, but I just want everything to be soft. And in the meantime, my pickling liquid has come up to a simmer. So I'm just gonna pour that directly over my cucumbers. Make sure everything is completely submerged. And these are just refrigerator style pickles, so you will have to keep them in the fridge, and it won't last forever, but they will last for a few weeks. And that is ready to go. Once that's cooled down, I can just put that in the fridge. But yeah, now I just need to wait for the soup, and then I'll be back to close out the video. That's the soup done. Like I said, I just took out the parsley, and that can cool down, can go in the fridge, and tomorrow all I have to do for lunch is heat that through. And yeah, that's all the prep work for this week. I can now have lunch or dinner on the table in minutes. If you like this kind of content, I do this every single Sunday. And if you'd like to see what I do with all the ingredients that I prepped, you can check out my Instagram where I post every single meal. Or you can check out the video I do on here about once a month where I show you a whole week of everything I eat in a day. And I'm going to start that right after I finish out this video with lunch for Sunday. And that's going to go all the way to Friday. So it's going to come out Friday. So, but yeah, if you like this, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and thanks for watching. Until next time, bye for now.